Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Hopefully all of you are doing well out there. I'm, of course, your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we are once again doing another top 3. This time, we're going to be doing the top 3 most played tanks in World of Tanks Blitz, and this is an update video because I would say about 5 or 6 months ago, I did a video just like this, talking about the most played tanks at that current time. But, as we all do know, times are a-changing, and definitely for the Blitz leaderboards, as there are 2 new vehicles making their way into the top 3 list. One of them in the third place we're going to be getting straight into, I'm not necessarily the proudest of. But, as always, if you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, as it helps out the channel a crazy amount. But getting into the number 3 position, well, yeah, this is not a vehicle I wanted to see there or expected to see there. This is the Smasher. Preferably the most overpowered vehicle. I guess it's neck and neck right now with the Annihilator. Both of them are pretty broken. But the Smasher is going to be always the king of derp at tier 7. It carries a 152mm gun, capable of one-shotting tier 6 opponents, capable of two-shotting tier 7 opponents, and even capable of three-shotting some tier 8 opponents, which is quite funny. And in fact, it still can two-shot even some of the tier 8 light tanks. So, yeah, the Smasher is not a tank to be reckoned with. It's quick, it's got 35 kilometers per hour top speed, and for the tank size, it's got good engine power, it's got heat that goes through 275 millimeters of armor. So, yeah, the Smasher, there's no reason why it should be in this list, because it is an extremely overpowered tank. But over 9,000 people have played this tank, which means that if you got 9,000 people, and let's say an average of them spent $50, well, that's about $500,000 Wargaming has made on this singular vehicle. $500,000. That is insane how much money this tank has brought in for the game, and it kind of shows, because literally every game you play at tier 7, you are either going to find an Annihilator, a Dracula, a Smasher, a Helsing, and you can pretty much guarantee that every single game. And it is bad for the game. I can say it's probably destroying the game and causing people that are trying to grind up the tiers to quit, but that's nothing I can make an argument about. So let's see what we're doing here. What are we up against? We got a Defender Mark 1, Lycan KV3 M6 A2E1. Okay, so not the worst of lineups for a tier 8 battle. I will say it struggles against tier 8s more than it does most tiers. Well, of course, most tier 7s struggle more against tier 8s, but this one, yeah, it does struggle against tier 8s quite a bit. So let's get a big ol' slap into the side of that Defender Mark 1 and back up. So we took 159 hit points, he took 600. Isn't that a big old fair trade for that Defender? Now, to be fair, I don't know why he's pushing this way. He should have known that that was a bad idea. But, yeah, that's, fair and balanced, as you can see. Let's load an HE, and that's 1,006 hit points off that guy. So, 2 shells, and we've already gotten ourselves about 1,600, 1,700 damage, and we've taken about 500 in return. So, yeah, this is why the Smasher is the Smasher. So, let's see if we can get that Defender again. Let's just get another tap. Yep, 2 shells into that Defender Mark 1 now, 99 hit points left, and we have done pretty much ruining, just crippling his game to nothing. So, that is why the Smasher, as you can see here, is probably one of the most played tanks, is all because of this. It just ruins games. So we are going to now push out over to this KV3. Maybe the RHM in the back wants to play. I doubt it, though. It doesn't look like he really wants to. So let's see if we can get a shell into the... Ooh, it looks like the rear of this T28. You ready to one-shot somebody? I am. Yep, there you go. One-shotting a tier 9 or tier 8 heavy... I'm losing my mind already. Sorry. It's when you play the Smasher, you kind of lose your mind. It is a tier 8 tank destroyer, a heavily armored tank destroyer at that. We also got a tank like the KV3 over here. Let's see if we can get a nice little snap right into the rear of his tank. So, yep, there you go. Another big old chunk off that guy. And let's back up in the cover here again. So, yeah, fair and balanced, as you can see. This is the Smasher in World of Tanks Blitz. Yeah, in my opinion, this tank should never have existed, and it should be nerfed, but while it's here to stay, as you can see, that was a 4,267 damage game, about one-shotting half their team, and... yeah, it's a tank it should not be in the list. That's all I can say. But, of course, let's get on to the second place position, which is another one that I'm guessing a lot of you already know. It is the XM551 Sheridan. Now, this vehicle is a tank that has been very controversial in the World of Tanks Blitz community. A lot of people like it, a lot of people hate it. I'm in the middle ground. I like the idea of the tank, and I still want it to be in the game, but I don't think missiles should be on the tank. I think it should have a 105mm gun, just like the Patton. And as well, you can put on the T49 gun with the heat and the standard pen that it had, and as well the high explosive, not the APCR and the missiles. And as you can see, I actually don't run missiles on this tank. Now, the Sheridan has, let's see how many people really quickly play it, 12,791 people are playing this tank. So, yeah, that was not correct English there, but pretty much 1,200, and yeah, it's a lot of people when you think about it. That's another 4,000 up on the Smasher every month of people that are playing the Sheridan. So, yeah, it's quite played a lot. But, you know, it is a fun tank, I will give it that, and it's also quite fun to try and pen your missiles if you do, you know, try and pen them in general. Now, that there was a good example of why the Sheridan is such a beloved vehicle. 500 hit points slapped off of that E75 in a pretty easy shell as well. You can see that's where the Sheridan really gets that big alpha. So now we've got a vehicle like that Tortoise, and, well, that was something. I don't know where that shell went, but not where I was aiming, I can tell you that. So maybe we can get a shell into like the E75. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to as of right now, unless he just stays there. But no, we literally can't pen him other than the turret. So let's go for that turret, and there you go. Went right through the turret. So yeah, you can see the gun on the Sheridan's accurate, and it's still more accurate than I feel it should be, because shells like that should not be able to hit. But I don't know what the enemy team's doing, to be fair. They're kind of just peeking their tanks on armor that I feel like they should not be peeking. So let's see if we can slap him. Yep, there's another nice tap for 532 into the Progetto 65. Nice little shell there. So we got the grill off to the back. We got the Vickers light right in front, and I'm just going to reload in another 5 seconds and see if we can get a nice shell into the Vickers. So let's just do a little bit of an aggressive push here. Let's make our way through here, and now we can squeeze our way down into here. So perfect. Look at that. Just making our way through. That is the Sheridan thing. That's kind of like what a T49 does, although of course the 49 might struggle a little bit more to get out of shell like that. So we got the Tortoise up top here. Not sure if he's just going to let us get a big old shell into him, but let's try. There you go. Nice shell for 603 hit points into the T49, and we're already at 2,779 damage. So yeah, we're getting out the damage quite easily this game, and that's what the Sheridan really just does. It just gets out damage. It's very easy to get it out. You can see you don't need missiles, and I would actually say missiles support a weird playstyle of the tank, not one that I personally like too much. So let's see if we can get a slap into that grill. Thank you very much for 572 of your hit points. Let's plop on our adrenaline here, and then we can use our mobility to get to the side of this guy and finish him off just as easily. So here we go, and thank you very much for your hit points. So that was a pretty easy game. A bunch of shells fired, and 3,862 damage later, you can see why the Sheridan, again, is one of the most played tanks in World of Tanks. Blitz, slapping my keyboard there accidentally. But yeah, it's great. It's fun to play. You can see the gun actually pens a lot of its shells, not on necessarily the frontline heavies. There weren't really a lot of super heavily armored tanks in their team, and the E75 they did have had the stock Tiger 2 turret, but still, I was able to get out a lot of damage that game, shoot a lot of high explosive shells, and even a vehicle like the Tortoise, I got 2 very easy shells into using my mobility, and that's how a light tank should be played, in my opinion, not trying to fire missiles over the ridges. So the Sheridan, a very fun tank, and I personally do really like it, but I don't run missiles on it, and I never will run missiles on it, unless I'm trying to prove a point or something like that. Now, finally, we're going to be making our way onto the number 1 position, a vehicle that you probably wouldn't expect. This is the WT off Panzer IV. Now, this tank is not really a tank. It's kind of more like an artillery. I don't really know what to call the WT. It's a tank destroyer, but it doesn't really have armor. It's a Panzer IV hull, which is of course a early war World War II tank, but it's got a big 150mm gun put on it. And this gun is one of the deadliest 150s you can ever see in Blitz. I would say this is more deadly than most tier 10 150s. And the reason for that being is because it hits every shell it fires. I would honestly say this gun hits more shells than the grill, even though it's got worse dispersion and worse aiming time. It's just weird. Every shell you fire in the WT hits. And I don't know why that is. It's just weird. So we're going to be pushing aggressive in this tank. Yes, I know. Pushing aggressive in a tank with 0 armor. Quite weird, yeah, but that's what makes the WT such an odd tank, is that it gets away with the most aggressive pushes. You can see it's not slow, like, it goes quick, it goes 35 kilometers per hour, gets in the position quite easily. Actually, it looks like it goes 38 to be exact, so not too bad on the top speed. And, well, our Conqueror's already spotted, but, well, we got the Emil, and let's get a big old slap into the side, and there you go. That's a perfect example of what the WT does. Now, I can say the reason I was probably shot there is because I had to pull out so far that my Conch was in my way, but that was still an 800 damage shell coming out of my vehicle here, and, well, my Conqueror still in the way. don't necessarily like that. Oh, you know, we got the Sheridan off to the side, but I want to see if we can maybe, ooh, that's not what I like there. I was looking all over. Let's see if we can get a shell into the M103 and fire. Yep, there you go. There's another penetration. So we are out trading a tier 9 heavy tank with our WT. As you can see, a fair and balanced tank. So let's get another shell into him here. Of course, why not, right? So there you go, 722, finishing off the M103. And while I have lost hit points myself, obviously not as many as that M103. So yeah, that is what makes this tank so strong currently. And we got a tank like the Emil 2 off to the side here. Let's see if we can get a heat shell in. Yeah, of course we can, because penetration on the tank is through the roof. So we've already gotten ourselves a very nice amount of damage here. 2,400 in such a quick amount of time. And hopefully we're going to be able to get out some more. If we can just position this tank correctly, we should be able to back it up and maybe get a heat shell. Yep, there we go. Nice heat shell into the side of that Yag Tiger. Just hitting that 3,000 damage margin now. And, well, you can see what makes this tank almost overpowered in certain scenarios. So we got that WT all the way in the back. And you bet that I want to try and hit him. Oh, just missing. That's unfortunate. And actually, I'll give the Yag Tiger credit. He got the HE into me. But even then, you can see what makes the WT so strong. I played it aggressive against Tier 9 heavies, against the Emil 1, against an M103 side scraping, and I was able to come out on top against those vehicles. And if I hadn't made that move, I didn't think, honestly, that the Yag Tiger was still looking at me. I thought he had turned around. Well, if I hadn't made that move, I probably easily could have done a way, way higher damaging game. And it looks like, oh, I was going to say we're still going to win this game, but honestly, I don't know. My team is, oh my god. Well, this is Blitz for you, as you can see. Team's missing the easiest shots, and because of that, we may actually lose this AMX 5120. I don't want to, oh, actually, we might win. Okay. I will give the team credit. We might manage to pull out this battle. We got a full health mouse, which of course is always nice. Well, there's a WT. But yeah, the WT, I can definitely agree, would be the most played tank. It's a tank that gets under everybody's radar. You wouldn't think it's overpowered, but oh boy, is it overpowered. Now, how many people in fact played this tank? Let me just take a look real quick. It's going to pause the game. We got 11,784 people have played this tank, with a total of 2.3 million battles. The Sheridan has 1.9 million. The WT, yeah, it's quite a bit more. And thankfully, it looks like we're going to be coming out with the victory on this battle here. WT probably knows it's a defeat. And there you go. So we came out with 3 victories for all 3 of the games played here. Pretty happy about that. And 3,000 damage for all 3 of the games. Actually, about 4,000 average for all 3 of these games. So there you go. That was another 3,156 damage game. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, hopefully all of you are doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.